And then that's, you know, in the world of politics, that's code for oil, gas, coal, nuclear, and so forth. And the reality is that he has done almost everything in his power to make it harder to get coal out of the ground and to be able to use it for creating electricity. He's made it harder to develop oil, to bring oil out of the ground. He's made it harder to get natural gas. I spoke with one big company, with the head of this big company, and he said that they just announced a new factory in Saudi Arabia for $20 billion. He built a new factory there, or is building one. And he said, we wanted to build it in the United States, but we need natural gas for our process. And in the United States, we can't count on getting natural gas from the massive resources we have here because of the EPA regulators. So this president has blocked coal, blocked oil, blocked gas, and of course we've had very little progress in other forms of nuclear energy. If I'm president of the United States, I will finally open up our capacity to get the resources we have in this country and get America energy secure and independent of our planet. Let me mention one more thing, and that is our commitment to the military. And this is an area of great distinction between the various people running for office on our side of the aisle and with the president. I hope you understand the state of our military readiness right now. We have, since Roosevelt, we have had as a policy the capacity to fight 2 wars at once. Not because we wanted to, but because we recognize the world is a dangerous place, and in a case of emergency, you want to be able to. And so we've always had that capacity, 2 wars at once. And you know that even with Iraq and Afghanistan going on, we were stretched to the limit. Well, this president has decided we're not going to have that capacity anymore. We're going to go down to be able to fight 1 war. And let me tell you more about our military readiness. We have fewer ships today in our Navy than any time since 1917. Our Air Force, our aircraft are older, and there are fewer of them than any time since the Air Force was founded in 1947. You know about our active duty personnel. National Guard and reservists were stretched to the limit on the conflicts we had. And yet, in those circumstances, this president is saying, slow down the purchases of ships, slow down the purchases of aircraft, reduce our active duty personnel by 50 to 100,000, cut military spending by $500 billion. That's the course he's put in place. I will take a very different course. Not because I want to fight wars, but because I believe a strong and superior American military will prevent wars. And so I will take our shipbuilding from 9 ships per year to 15 ships per year. I will take our aircraft. I would accelerate our purchase of aircraft. I would add 100,000 active duty personnel to our troops. And finally, I will make sure that we provide the care for our veterans that they deserve. That's my agenda. I want to say thank you to you for spending a little time with me today. I want you to know I love and have great passion for this country. I'm concerned about this country. I believe we're in jeopardy. I believe we've been put on a path of decline, militarily, economically, socially. I want to strengthen America. I'm not a lifelong politician. I point out that I was governor for only 4 years, and I never inhaled. I'm not. I'm still a business guy, all right. And I want to go to Washington. I'm not planning on going to Washington and making that my life. I've got my life, my family, and my enterprise, my faith. I hope to go to Washington, and with your prayers and your help, we'll be successful in Washington, getting the country back on track. And then when I'm finished, I'll come home. I won't stay in Washington, all right? Because I believe this is where it's at. So the good news, or the bad news, depending on your point of view, is that you'll see me up in northern New England at Lake Winnipesaukee from time to time. And I want to say thank you for your help today. I love this country. God bless the USA. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Please. Now your turn. Questions, advice, counsel? Let's see. Way over here. Yes, sir. Well, we got two of you over here, so either one. Go ahead. Young man in the front row. We'll let you start off. Yes, sir.
But my question to you is that with over 15 million people in poverty in America right now, how could you make those claims?
Actually, what I said, and I clarified it, I said I didn't say it the way I meant to say it, which was the poor have a safety net, and I want to make sure that safety net is repaired and able. And of course, I care about all Americans, the 1% down to the 99.9%. All right, I care about all Americans, but the poor have a safety net to help the poor, and I want to make sure that's kept in place. The wealthy in America are doing just fine. But I'm very concerned about all the people in the middle who are not doing just fine and who don't have a safety net. So we have middle-income families have fallen into poverty under this president. And by the way, I'm not going to allow President Obama to lecture me on what's fair and values when he's been the president that's seen more people fall into poverty than ever in history, more people on food stamps, more people lose their home. No, I'll be lecturing him about values. And my value is to get people out of poverty, back in the middle class, and to help middle-income families.
Patriotic of you to stash your money away in the Cayman Islands.
That's okay. That's a good question. Come on. I got to take some shots now and then. It won't be interesting. All right. First of all, I'll have to take a look at what the trustee says. But as you probably know, I don't manage my money. Ever since I got involved in politics, because I wanted to make sure I did not have a conflict, I'd make a decision in favor of a business and then find out that I had investment in that business. I said, look, I'm going to take what I have and give it to a blind trustee, someone who manages the money for me, not for me, not without my knowing where they invest. And that's been the case for 10 years. All right? That's number one. Number two, every dollar that's in any enterprise, whether it's foreign or domestic, you have to pay U.S. taxes on it. You might think you can put money somewhere else and you'll pay U.S. taxes. Of course you do. And the blind trustee, meeting with the media, said Mr. Romney has paid all U.S. taxes, and I have not saved $1 by having an investment somewhere outside this country. And finally, the investment in an offshore account was to invest back here in the United States, and the reason it was there, they explained, was so foreign investors could also invest in that entity. So I pay all the taxes I'm required to pay under the law, and by the way, not a dollar more. Thank you.
Talk about we need jobs in America, we need jobs in America. We have a lot of small communities here in Maine, and we all need jobs, from Kennebunk up to Presque Isle. What can we do to help all the small communities dotted along 95?
Well, the best thing we can do is to get the overall economy growing so well that businesses decide to come back to America, to create jobs in America, whether it's in building ships or building boats that are tending offshore rigs and so forth, or whether it's in restaurants and hotels, bringing more tourists because people are doing better generally. If the economy is doing well, more people come to Maine, more people buy products from Maine, Mainards are able to go other places and spend money. It's a wonderful thing how the economy works. And when the economy is sick, then middle-income families are sick and hurting. And that's what's happened right now. I mean, you understand the median income under this president, last 4 years, median income has dropped 10% in America. 10%.
Going on, Mr. Romney.
I'm sorry?
There's a recession going on.
Yes, and it's been going on for 3 years. The longest in the history of the country. And let me tell you, by the way, now hold on. The president has put forward what he said in the State of the Union. He said, here's the things you have to do if you want to get this economy going. He laid out what he said you ought to do. And I thought, well, this is going to be interesting. And he said the following things. He said, one, you have to lower taxes on corporations. He didn't. He raised them. Number two, he said, you've got to make sure and reduce regulations. He didn't. He's increased regulation at a rate of 2.5 times his predecessor. Number 3, he said you've got to take advantage of all of the above in energy. He didn't. He's blocked the development of other sources of energy. And number 4, he said we've got to crack down on cheaters like China. He didn't. He's done nothing to keep China from taking American jobs. And so what he said he'd do is the opposite of what he has done. And my policy is to do what must be done, get our taxes down, get regulators to encourage enterprise in this country, open up our energy resources, crack down on China when they cheat, and finally make sure that we have a balanced budget in this country so people are willing to invest in America again. Thank you. Here you go. I'll give you this one.
When I went to college, you graduated and got married and bought a home, and it was challenging, but you were able to do it. Our son is now just graduated and can't find a job yet. It's challenging for him. He's doing freelance work, which is really helping so much. But what we're finding, and I'm seeing with other kids that we know, is that their school loans are so burdensome that it's going to be many years before they can enter the housing market. And I see this as a fundamental issue that's hurting our economy and our country, because the housing market seems to stimulate so much, and it's going to be immensely stunted by this. And I don't know if the government's the one to solve that problem. I believe so much against debt, but for housing and for education, I encourage it in those 2 areas. So it seems like, even though I want the government out of my life as much as possible, I don't even want to be told I can't use my cell phone. I don't want the government telling me things that are reasonable that I should know on my own. Therefore, there's very little that I want the government involved in. But this one area, I just think if these kids and their school loans aren't helped in some way, that it's going to hurt us in a bigger way.
Thank you. You know, when you were going to school, when you were going to college, did you have to take out government loans? No. You probably had a part-time job and you worked, and there was a time